there is a breakout of UFOs. And by the way, it's not just New Jersey, and this is the frustrating part here. And this actually is one of my frustrations. When it snows in New York City, it becomes a national news event. You'll all know it's true. If there is an inkling of wind in New York City, those of us across the country are forced to watch the national news outlets cover leaves blew from trees today in New York City. Charlie Denny, standing in Central Park, reports. Well, I'm here in New York City in the Central Park, and we got trees, the leaves are dying, and they're blowing off the trees, and look at that, there goes another leaf. We don't care. The rest of us don't care. So the UFOs in New Jersey, it's not just New Jersey. It's happening in Pennsylvania, and it's happening in Virginia. But because it's New Jersey and so many of the people on the TV stations in New York actually live in New Jersey, it's the biggest news on planet Earth. We got UFOs in New Jersey. Drones, what are they? We have no idea. I can tell you a few things. One, I can tell you I have talked to a number of pilots, and pilots who have seen the videos say that in some cases, not all of the cases, but in some cases, people are seeing planes, like legit planes, and probably civil aviation, although one of them looks very much like the tail of a Southwest jet, and I'm not the only person to have noticed. Two, not all of them are civilian or passenger planes. Some of them look like planes, but they're of odd designs. And there are some people speculating maybe these actually are planes with people in them or drones. Three, we do know some of them are drones. So you've got a social contagion event happening where people are seeing something flying through the sky and saying, oh my God, it's a drone, and it's actually the latest Southwest jet. But also there are precipitating events to the social contagion where there are drones in the sky and we don't know exactly what they are. We also know that there have been ships without transponders on detected in the Atlantic around the time the drones are detected. And this is a key thing. In Virginia and in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania, there have been ships detected in the Atlantic that don't have transponders or lights on, and the sightings, the detection occurs around the time that the drones come out. So there's clearly something happening out there. And people, including Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey, a Democrat, they're starting to get very frustrated.
I've been a little frustrated. There hasn't been enough transparency, letting people know what's happening. It's allowing a lot of potentially misinformation to spread, or at least fear. We should know what's going on over our skies, and I've asked for a lot more information.
Yeah, so fear is one of the things that's happening. Again, this is very important for everybody to understand that I've talked to too many pilots now. I got a lot of pilots who listen. Southwest and Atlanta both have big hubs in Atlanta, and Southwest and Delta have big hubs in Atlanta. And I've gotten a lot of pilots who said, look, we've seen the video. We've talked to other pilots. Our air traffic controllers are not detecting these, so they could be below 1,000 feet where the airport radar isn't detecting them. But at the same time, a lot of them coincide with the flight patterns of commercial jetliners and civil aviation, and not all of them. And that's important to keep two thoughts in your head. One is there are unidentified aerial craft flying, and also some of them are being actual commercial jetliners and civilian aviation, but not all of them. And that is a strong consensus from a lot of the pilots I've talked to. Now, here's John Kirby on, this was from Fox News. He was asked this question at a White House briefing.
Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. That said, we certainly take seriously the threat that can be posed by unmanned aircraft systems, which is why law enforcement and other agencies continue to support New Jersey and investigate the reports, even though they have uncovered no malicious activity or intent at this particular stage. While there is no known malicious activity occurring, the reported sightings there do, however, highlight a gap in authorities. And so we urge Congress to pass important legislation that will extend and expand existing counter-drone authorities so that we are better prepared to identify and mitigate any potential threats to airports or other critical infrastructure, and so that state and local authorities are provided all the tools that they need to respond to such threats as well.
Kirby gets as close to what these pilots are telling me that a lot of people are just panicked now because they've heard these stories and they're thinking, oh, we've got UFOs, and really it's commercial or civil aviation planes. Commercial planes are planes for hire. You fly. Civil aviation, people with their little turboprop planes flying around, people are getting them confused. But there do appear to be some drones. Part of my frustration with the story is this has been happening a lot in over military installations in Virginia, and now all the New Jerseyans are like, "What about us? What about us? We got them too." Except, as Kirby points out, and he's telling the truth here. I know he's telling the truth because I've talked to some folks within the DOD who are pretty angry with the Biden administration, and they say New Jersey is a distraction. The big play is Virginia. There have been a number of drones flying over military installations in Virginia, and their frustration, and by the way, no military installations over New Jersey are being impacted, but ones in Virginia are, and there have been a couple of reports out of Pennsylvania over military installations. The problem is that the Biden administration has not altered rules of engagement. When Trump was president and Obama and Bush, there were rules of engagement that allowed the military to shoot these things down. When Biden became president, the law didn't change. The interpretation of the law by the Pentagon's lawyers under the direction of the White House changed, and they were no longer allowed under the rules of engagement to shoot these things down over civilian airspace. The problem is these drones fly in civilian airspace alongside military installations, and so they're not allowed to shoot them down. They know the rules of engagement, and all we need is the Trump team to come in and alter the rules of engagement. We don't actually need a new federal law being passed. I will tell you, I talked to someone at the Pentagon, and so here's what he says. John Kirby mentions they want Congress to expand authority and pass some additional laws. And his thinking is that one of the reasons the White House is dragging their feet is they want these laws passed. And Congress isn't passing the laws. And he wonders if some of this stuff is also people within the administration creating more of a social contagion panic, just try to get laws passed. All they got to do is change some interpretations of existing laws to change the rules of engagement instead of passing new laws. But the overwhelming consensus, just so you understand, the overwhelming consensus is that while there are some suspicious flights in New Jersey, overwhelmingly the position from pilots I've talked to, from people at the Pentagon I've talked to, from John Kirby, you heard him say, is that it's just people panicked and they're seeing civilian aviation or commercial jets saying, oh my gosh, it's UFO, when really it's not. And it's a big distraction because there actually is a massive security event happening in Virginia that no one's now talking about because of the situation in New Jersey.